Okay, so what I want to do is I want to showcase my build just a little bit. This is an all green gear, all green spell, poison shaman. I've been working on this build since release basically, and I've finally got it to the place to where I feel really good about it now. First thing I'm going to do real quick is just go ahead and start the battle so that I can see what kind of mana I'm given at the first turn, because that's kind of critical to me getting this thing rolling. You'll notice we're in elite mode, just a random chapter. I want to see how much green mana I get, because I need enough green mana to get this thing going at the start. This is probably enough. I'll go ahead and roll with this and see what happens. But ideally what I want to do is have my hotbar pretty much filled up at the start. Okay, that was enough to get the first two, and that should get it rolling. So go ahead and do my channel poison, because one of the main things about this build is you always want to have poison on your enemy, because it will make them take 25% extra damage, which is big. Then I'm going to do my green mana generator, plus it does a bunch of damage. Okay, so now I got some green gems to work with, and now I can fill up my bar and get this thing rolling. Really get in there. Okay, that should be good. And now my bar is full, and now I can pretty much start to get it rolling. I usually do the same turn order. I'll start with good juju if that's filled up, and then I go into channel poison, make sure he's always poisoned. Go into poisonous toads, do some damage, generate skulls. Go into poison spirit, do some damage, possibly stun. So you see he's already stunned, but we've moved on already. I'll do my last one to make sure I keep myself topped off here, and it also will generate some more green gems, and it usually, or skulls, and it will usually flip the board whenever it's full for you already. So right now just kind of figure out what's hanging it up, and match one or so, just kind of pop it off. Now my bar is going to be full again, and I'll start the same rotation. Good juju, channel poison, poisonous toads, poisonous spirit, spirit mask. Now the board will probably flip. Yeah. Okay, now my deal's full again, so now I'll go right back into it. And we flipped it again. And so now my bar's full again. On to the last one. And they haven't even really got to go yet. That's what's the beauty of this build. Once in a while they'll get to hit you, especially if you couldn't get rolling on the first turn. But I mean, if you have a bad gem amount on the first turn, you can always just retreat and start the battle over, and it's no real big deal, honestly. Something's holding it up, but I couldn't figure it out. But anyway, it don't matter. Pop it off. Always have poison on. That's the way of this build, is poison is always applied. Okay, boom. Got it. Now let's look at the gear real quick so you can kind of get an idea. So on my gear, I have I start off with the sets that are really important for this build, are your royal set, obviously. We're getting 4 pieces of that, and I have it at legendary right now, but it converts 6 mana gems to big 3 gems at the start of the battle. 6 of them, that's huge. I mean, when they pop off in green, half of them will be green most of the time, so that's huge. Then you have a guard set bonus. I have 2 of that. I'm increasing my block chance by 6% for each green gem, or for each big gem on the board. I'm going to have a lot of big gems on the board, so this is always going to be effective for me. Yeah, something else could probably work better, but the bonuses that are on this gear and this gear are just really good, so yeah. And then I've got Serpentine set, 2 pieces. I inflict poison on my enemy for 6 turns when matching a big green of 3 or higher. I'm always going to be matching big green, so things are always going to be poisoned. So I've got a Savior's Helm. It creates 3 big gems, so I'm creating a lot of gems, as you can see. Serpentine set is always kind to poison. Royal armor, give me some elite protection. Guard's Gloves gives me a crit chance, which, is always nice. I don't depend on crits with this build, but hey, it's pretty cool when it happens. 10% of armor when you cast a green spell. Well, yeah, I'm always going to be doing that every single turn, every single click. So I'm constantly armored up. 8% speed. I mean, this is just to basically get the royal set bonus. Speed is not really a big deal because if you fill your hotbar up, you're not even worried about matching gems. You're just clicking your spells. So speed's not really a big deal, but the royal bonus is. So then I've got a royal longsword. 5% of your starting power. Matching green gems. So everything's synergizing off green for this build. Guard shield, adding to block chance. Dwarven necklace helps with that barrier. I have a barrier all the time. This right here is probably the best item in the game, in my opinion. The Lucky Clover ring, I actually got it in green. 45% chance to create 2 big 4 green gems at the start of the battle. I mean, this is like made for a green build. I don't really know how you get out of not using this one. So yeah, this is the best item in the game right here. Only get it on St. Patrick's Day, so if you missed it the first time around, you'll have to wait. Royal Ring, get 6% of mana each color. I mean, I don't really care about the other colors, but green, hey, that's great. Gives me my royal bonus. And Serpentine Belt, 1 to 3 gems at the start of your turn if they're poisoned. They're always poisoned, so I get those every turn. So that's amazing. Plus it gives me my Serpentine bonus. Now my spells is what's really important for this build because as you can tell, I'm generating so much mana that I'm constantly using my spells. I hardly ever attack. I'm just using spells. First one is Poisonous Toads. It does damage plus creates 6 green gems at legendary level. That's awesome. That's a lot of mana generation. That's key. Channel Poison creates 7 green gems, so this is more mana generation, plus I'm assuring that I have poison on the enemy always, so that's a key. Poison Spirit, I deal a lot of damage, 65% chance to stun. I'm pretty much going to be stunning them all the time because if I create a solid line of green, which I have generally always, they stun, but that's an extra, way to make sure they stay stunned. Spirit Mask increases the caster's resistance, cleanses you, and creates either 6 skulls or 6 green gems. This is where I end up getting some skulls a lot of the times because it's like half the time it'll proc skulls, half the time it'll proc gems. Ideally, I would like for it to be gems all the time so I can just keep my spell bar loaded. But hey, when you set off 15-20 skulls in a turn with a royal longsword, that can, be a big deal. Juju Gem, it just basically, empowers based upon your available charges. When destroyed, creates a power 3 green gem and empowers any active bad juju. I don't really have bad juju in this build, but it gives me more mana generation, so it works, and it's good. Okay, so that was my build. I've just got a couple minions on here, but that's for PvP. That's not really for the build to do PvE content. But yeah, as you can see, I can roll through just about anything with this. So that's my build.